Hey, good afternoon. My name is Emily Trogdon, and today I'll be presenting my capstone project, Phishing in K through 12 environments. So this research that I did explored how phishing attacks impacted schools, what vulnerabilities exist in schools, and how we can strengthen defenses. I also went through most common tactics of phishing that schools are getting. So, phishing is one of the most significant cybersecurity threats in schools. Students, teachers, and staff are targeted through deceptive emails, spoofed portals, and malicious attachments. These attacks can disrupt operations, expose sensitive data, and can cause financial loss for the school or district. My paper examined these threats and proposes practical prevention on how to defend against phishing attempts. So why does this topic matter? This topic matters because I chose it as I have a background in IT now from an elementary school and as a high school because I work at a high school now. I see phishing emails every single day from, elementary school kids' computers to the staff to the teachers and now at the high school level. Um, there's a lot of sensitive data. It's at these schools. It can be student data, such as their grades, any disabilities, anything like that. And then there's also sensitive staff data that we just don't want leaked out on the internet. Um, I've seen some real incidents based off of my work experience, such as fake job scams. One of them was an email sending to these kids about a $500 a week job. And they only had to work part time, 2 days a week, and they'd get $500. I always say if it seems too good to be true, then chances are it's not real. There's also been fraudulent calendar invites that I've seen. Somebody was kept getting these invites and she didn't expect them. So it wasn't a person she knew and it wasn't somebody that she was expecting to get an invite from. So obviously it was not legit and she was getting those invites because it was a phishing attempt. So, I have this desire to strengthen awareness and resilience for phishing in schools because since it's such a big issue, I'd like to make more people aware of it because I feel like people just kind of battle around it and don't really go into it and show the right training and what we can do to protect ourselves from phishing. In my literature review highlights from the topics or the literature that I found for my research paper, research showed several key vulnerabilities. Schools often struggle with FERPA compliance, so that is where they have to protect all this sensitive data containing grades, student disabilities, something like that. Anything that's not supposed to be out on the internet. They struggle with that because it's kind of like HIPAA for a healthcare facility. You know, only the people that need to know it should know it, not everybody at the school. They also struggled with ransomware and phishing, especially since nowadays everything's online, school's online, everybody's got a device, everybody's got an email. So this is constantly coming through emails and then causing phishing attacks more often. Another issue was budget constraints. So, a budget constraint is where they just don't have enough money to necessarily fund the right security defenses to limit any phishing attacks, cyber attacks, anything that could be serious. Another thing that they found were human factors. So, these are like, I've always heard, the human is your weakest link at a workplace. So we have weak password practices. I've seen a lot of common practices of where the student or the teacher will have their password for their device just sitting on their desktop or on their laptop or stick to the keyboard on a sticky note. Well, anybody that comes into the room could easily gain access to kids' grades, anything. So that's kind of scary. And for students, these kids could use each other's passwords to cheat and do their schoolwork, or they could hack into somebody else's that they necessarily didn't like and mess up their schoolwork. So there's a lot of weak password practices. There's also a lot of just human factors that are not good in the school system that are being practiced. And then another one was the cloud adoption, introduced third-party risk. So my approach for methodology for this, my approach combined multiple methods. So I tried selecting schools that had phishing incidents. So for my example, I could use my elementary and my high school, both of which had phishing incidents. Luckily, we've caught them before too much happened, but we did have a lot of students that clicked on them. We sent email out and said, if you clicked on it, please, don't be embarrassed, don't be, shy. Come to tech office and we can reset your password for you, because that's the number one practice that we do is reset passwords. We also had an incident report analysis. I also used an incident report analysis, as well as observed classroom behaviors. So as I was in the classrooms, doing technology, I could see like students, or if I got somebody else's Chromebook and I'd see so many profiles logged into one Chromebook, that gave me this idea that like a lot of students knew each other's passwords. So that's not good. And then also doing interviews with staff and students. So just seeing like what they're seeing, asking them like what they're doing, kind of just getting an idea of like what their technology practices are and how they're reacting to if they're getting a weird email. So a lot of my findings, the most common tactic included email spoofing. So email spoofing is when attackers forge the sender's address so the email looks like it comes from a trusted source. So for an example, where I work at a school, it could come from my principal, and it could say, oh, please click on this link and give me your contact information so that we can update our system. But you could tell by the address that it wasn't necessarily from her. It could be from somebody else, but that's email spoofing and impersonation. So they're impersonating somebody that they are really not, and they're trying to get some kind of information from you that you should not hand out. Another one was, or impersonation goes farther. Sometimes attackers mimic the tone. So if it's a phone call, they might mimic the tone of that person, or even through the email. The style or identity of someone the recipient knows. So making the email seem more authentic, not, so, plain. That's definitely not them. And the goal is to trick recipients into clicking links, sharing sensitive data, or opening files by exploiting the trust of that person. Another finding was credential harvesting using fake portals. So this is where attackers create fake login portals and forms that look identical to legitimate sites, so like an email or school portals. For example, this could be they send you a link that's AOL.com and they want your email. So you type in, your email and your password, but the AOL.com is actually AOL.com. Something slightly off, but still, not super noticeable, but for somebody that's trained, they could look for that stuff. So once you log in your email, then they, and your password, then they store that stuff. Victims enter usernames and passwords, which are secretly collected by the attackers. And then once stolen, these credentials can be used to access sensitive systems, steal data, or launch further attacks. So, hacking into somebody's email, not good. There's a lot of information that goes into your email that you don't want spread out to the world. And one other common phishing tactic I saw was sending malicious attachments. So any malicious attachment is such as files, so PDFs, any Word docs, spreadsheets, anything like that are sent via email that contain hidden malware. So if you're getting a message and it's like, here is your bill, your recent bill, please click on this file to see all your past purchases, and it's from somebody you've never even heard of, not even the company that you have a credit card bill with, then you obviously know that that's, not legit, right? But if you click on that, then it can trigger harmful code, so such as a ransomware or spyware. So the common tactic for this is just disguising attachments as legitimate documents. For example, also student grades or HR forms to encourage clicks, so they can get more victims under this. So a lot of times these tactics are often combined in phishing campaigns. Um, and it's just like spoofed emails will impersonate trusted staff, then they'll direct victims to credential harvesting sites and deliver malicious attachments. So they could do all of this and all in one email. Here's a couple examples that I have how to spot email spoofing. So email spoofing, like I said, is when attackers forge the sender's address to the email. So one of the ways is a false sense of urgency. So it might be like, this is urgent, but it's not really an urgent matter. You also have a suspicious sender address. So this one came from, supposedly security of bankofamerica.com, but then the address that's linked to it was a Hotmail address. Why would somebody with a Hotmail address be trying to send you something about Bank of America? The message feels off, so it says, we noticed unusual activity on your account. Please confirm your information by clicking the link below. That doesn't seem very right if you think that, you haven't purchased anything, that seems off. Then it gives you a link with a login portal so it can get your information. There's also misspellings in it. So thank you, they changed the M, or they changed the N to an M. So now it's thank you, Bank of America security team. Obviously, that's not right. Here's another example. This is an example of a malicious attachment. So it says, be advised that your credit operation is on hold. Please look at the document for full details. Well, there was already a missing word. Please look so that's misspelling. And it's also saying that your credit operation's on hold. So that's kind of urgent for you would think. And then they sent you this attachment. Obviously, this attachment is gonna, it's malicious, so opening it could be pretty bad. So the findings that I found, how they impact the school, could be phishing attacks can shut down networks for days. They can expose sensitive student records and staff, even. This can cause financial loss through ransom payments or recovery costs. And the impact honestly goes beyond technology. It just disrupts learning, and it also loses trust with families. So if you're known for having a phishing attack at your school, and you're having to try to get more kids come in, the last thing you would want as a parent is for your kids' information to possibly be out there if they go to the school. So how can we prevent it and mitigate it? So prevention requires a layered approach, regular cybersecurity training and phishing simulations, multi-factor authentication, and advanced email filtering, and clear incident response planning. So having cybersecurity training and phishing simulations where they'll send you fake phishing emails is a great thing. It teaches you what to look for. Setting up multi-factor authentication gives you multiple ways to verify it's you, so it's not just somebody typing in a password. It's also, clicking on your authentication app on your phone, using your text message code, or getting a call. Advanced email filtering will filter out different emails that look suspicious, and then instant response planning can be helpful if something does happen. You know what to do. So, in conclusion, phishing is a daily reality in K-12 environments. Technical solutions just aren't enough. We need age-appropriate training and government strategies. So something different from kindergarten that will also be different for 12th grade. Schools that invest proactive measures reduce risk and save resources. Future research may explore AI-based detection and long-term training effectiveness. And here are my references.